if you want to hear from the Lord, you need to be a believer that engages in worship. So in chapter 1, verse 28, it says, this is Hannah gives birth to Samuel, and she's dedicating him to the Lord. She brings him to the tabernacle to live in the presence of God. So verse 28 of chapter 1, so now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord. And he worshiped the Lord there. Now, my version has he worshiped the Lord there, which is talking about Samuel. And he's a little boy. We think he's only 3-4 years old. And he is worshiping God. Some versions have they worship the Lord there. They know it's Samuel, but it could be that Elkanah and Hannah, the parents of Samuel, are also worshiping too. But Samuel is definitely worshiping the Lord. And I think worship is very powerful. I think when you are just in love with Jesus and you're worshiping and praising him, that is often how it opens up God's voice for us to hear him. There are lots of people that come to church and will say to me, Pastor Joe, why do we even bother with all that music part in the first part? Why don't we just get to the Bible? Let's get right to the word. But you do not realize that it is the worship that I think prepares us to hear God's voice, that we just love on him and give him praise and honor and glory. There's all kinds of verses. King David, you know it's Samuel's grandson that becomes the head worship leader at the temple. King David has worship 24/7 by 24 different crews around the clock. So whenever you would go to meet with God, you would always enter his gates with thanksgiving and praise. You would always have worship before you hear the voice of the Lord. This is another verse. Someone went to Elijah. King Jehoshaphat said, hey, listen, I need you to talk to God. I need some direction. And it says that Elijah asked for a harpist to come to play. And while the harpist was playing godly music, the hand of the Lord came on Elijah. And he said, this is what the Lord says. I know for my life, often I'm like, oh, Lord, I need, what is your will? What to preach on or how to live my life or some decision I have to make. And I can put on good Christian worship music. And through the music, God, I think if you worship him, you bow your spirit before the Lord, I think it opens you up to hearing his voice speak to you.